Welcome to Kimsey Software's MetalTrax training series. This is video 2, Setting Up MetalTrax. Bank Accounts, Sales Tax Codes, Ship Via Values, and Feature Initialization, Part 1, by Kyle Kimsey.
This is the second video in the MetalTrax series, video 2, Setting Up MetalTrax. And in setup 1, if you have not seen that yet, that is where we went and set up our branches, our warehouses, a few of our users, and our sales reps. In this video, we will continue from there. The next step after you've set up your branches, your warehouses, and your users is to click on Monetary and set up your bank accounts. In this case, there are no bank accounts. If you do a lookup, there are no bank accounts defined. So I'm going to click on N, and I'm going to issue my bank account number 1. Just so you know, you do not need to type in your whole original bank account. You probably shouldn't, as you probably shouldn't have that for anybody that could possibly have access to the screen. Just type in bank account number 1 or whatever you want to number it. In this case, I bank with Cache Valley Bank. And then I come down and I can put in my base currency. I can default that and it'll default to my base currency, or I could put in base. In my cash and bank account, I can do a lookup. And at this point, if I want to look up, I could scroll down to my bank account that I want, or remember, you can just start typing in your cash and bank account. Now, this case, I just have my Cache and Bank Valley Bank, which is my Cache Valley Bank. So there is my account number. If you don't have it, you can always go into your general ledger and add the general ledger account. But in this case, I'm going to say my Valley Bank, and I'm going to tell it that it's my default AR and my default AP account. Now, if you do this, as you do invoices and other things that you do manual invoices, it'll pull in with that bank account automatically when you're doing payments and other things that you'll see later on in the training. When I type that in, I just hit the Save button. I now have my branches set up, my warehouses, my users, and my bank account. If you're dealing with foreign currency, you can do that at this time as well. We're not going to cover that in this training because it's most of our users do not deal in foreign currency conversions. So I can speak with you about that personally if you do that. So let's go on and show you. We've already set up bank accounts, sales tax codes. Remember, under our sales tax code, we put one in there called non-taxable. If you want to add a new tax, you just click on New and you can add the tax. You can also hit this blue arrow for cancel and close the screen down if you'd like. After we've set up that, we are now ready for our ship via values. Ship vias are going to be those ways that your ship methods, obviously. So in this case, I'm going to add a few. I'm going to add our truck. And when I'm done, you notice I can click on the add button, but as I highlight this, I can also hit the F4. So I'm going to just hit F4, and it goes up there and puts in our truck in the grid. Now remember that you do not need will call. Will call is already one of the defaults, so there's no need to add will call, but you can add things like, let's say I want to add FedEx and hit F4, maybe UPS, F4, maybe I want to do Yellow Freight, F4, and maybe I want to do Swift Trucking. Those are just a few of them. When I'm done, I click Add. They've now added. When you're done with setting up your ship via values, you can close the screen down. You're now getting much closer to being able to import your customers and vendors, but there are a few things that we need to still cover. The last thing in the setup that we're going to cover, or one of the last things, is under miscellaneous and feature initialization. We're going to set up our feature initializations, a few of the ones that are key. First, I want you to come down here and show you how this works. If you list the features containing the words or phrase, let's say I'm looking for the word escape. The reason why I wanted to do that is we have a new feature now where you can use your escape key to unload screens. So I'm going to turn that on just to make it easier for us. That's feature 3046. Now I could have just typed in 3046 here and pulled it up that way as well. Now the other ones we need to configure that we need to make sure are configured, I'm going to type in G/L here. These are two important ones. This first one right here is the GL Accounts Miscellaneous Feature 2000. That's the most important one to set up in the feature initialization. We're going to go set that up now. It prompts you under Main under your main branch, what's your accounts receivable account. If you don't know it, you can do a lookup and just start typing in accounts receivable. You notice I see my accounts receivable account. Discounts allowed. If you know your discounts allowed, you can type it in, or I just type in discounts and do discounts to customers. Write-offs, some people call it bad debt. Some people call it a write-off. However you set it up, you can do it. I'm going to just call mine bad debt, so I do a bad debt. Finance charges, if you're not planning on charging finance charges, you don't have to you can put in your accounts receivable account, but you have to put in some account. So if you are doing finance charges, you can type in finance charges and pull up your finance charges account. Cash on hand is your cash account. So I'm going to choose my cash in bank, my Valley Bank account that we chose before. Miscellaneous income, I do a lookup, start to type in miscellaneous income and choose miscellaneous income. At this point, I need a cash overpayment. If you have a cash overpayment, you can do that now. In this case, I just use for training purposes, I don't have, if you come in here and type in overpayment, I don't have an overpayment account, but I do have a cash account that I put it in. Then I'm just going to say any overpayments will hit my cash overpayment account. Now you probably do need, if you're going to receive in overpayments, you probably will need to set up a cash overpayment account in your GL and call it. But for right now, I can just use my cash and bank account. We can come back and add that later and go in and do it in your general ledger. Next, I click on the accounts payable related tab. It prompts me for my accounts payable. And so I type in accounts payable and I choose my accounts payable. Pending AP. Now we're going to discuss pending AP later on, but you will need a pending AP account. This is like an account that is hit when you receive in your inventory, when you debit your inventory, you need an account to credit that it's a holding account for your accounts payable. So I have one called pending AP. I'm going to choose that. A variance account also needs to be set up. This is when there's a variance between what you receive in and your vendor bills you. So I'm going to do a lookup, and I'm going to type in my pending and choose my pending AP variance. On my claims pending, again, this is for a claims pending. If you do not have any of these accounts, make sure you talk to somebody here at Kimsey Software Solutions, and we can instruct you on how these should be set up, or you can talk to your accountant. Discount taken. Remember, I have a discount given to vendors, so I'm going to say taken from vendors. And then I do inventory related. At this point, I need a scrap loss account. I do a lookup, choose the scrap loss. An automatic adjustment is if you're making adjustments to inventory and it knows to debit or credit inventory, what will the offset be automatically? So I actually have an account that I call inventory adjustments. On inventory gain or loss, if you're not doing foreign transactions, you're not really doing any inventory gain or loss. And so if you come in here for inventory, you can't find it, or if you do a gain and a loss, you can't find it. I happen to have one, but if not, you can always just use your automatic adjustments account if you're not going to be doing any foreign currency conversions anyway. The last thing is the other button. It will ask for your retained earnings. So you type in your retained earnings. And under your credit memo holding account is the account that the system will use if you receive in or if you do a credit memo and you need a holding area before you actually go and enter that inventory into and put it back in through the inventory module if you're not having the system do that automatically. So in this case, I do have a credit memo holding account. When you're done, you save it. Now, the only reason I'm bringing up this next one is this 2003 is we have not put our inventory or our categories in the system yet. We will do that in the next training video. But this is where we will need to come after we put in our inventory and our categories to reference what sales, returns, and cost of goods sold accounts and inventory asset accounts that need to be accessed. So I'm just referencing that now. As a recap, the feature initialization allows us to configure the system and make it a little bit more so it's catered or directed to your company. So we can turn a feature off and it can completely change the look and feel of the screen. So as you see me as I'm going throughout this training, I will often refer to feature initialization. And just to recap where that is, it's under miscellaneous and feature initialization. So at this point, we have now set up our bank accounts. We have now set up our branches, our warehouses, our users. We've set up our sales tax codes. Under geography, we can set up delivery routes, and zip codes are already brought in automatic. The zip codes are already brought in automatically from a table, but we can change them. If you ever find a zip code is not right, for example, if I type in USA and type in my zip code 84790 and it actually isn't St. George, Utah, just edit it and change the tax codes that you want applicable, because that will save for later uses if you're going to ever type in that zip code again. So at that point, we're done with training video 2, miscellaneous setup number 2. Please watch our other videos as we'll do additional training videos. The next one will be training video 3. Thank you for your time.